I'm not sure what they want to do. I can show them on the screen, but I cannot run the computer and take notes at the same time. So if somebody else wants to move things along, you're welcome to come to this computer, or you can show plans rolled out.
Right.
It's up to
So the,
Okay, so we'll let you,
We gotta
let's
start
go
with-
ahead. We'll just,
It's a little more formal than site plan review because this is an
I guess we
actual
got-
committee with an open meeting.
Yeah. so
requirement.
we'll call the meeting to order. Our formal design review. The 216 Main Street Realty Trust and SWAT NH LLC Sunbird Cape Cod Resort and Sunbird Annex. You want me to read the whole thing? Yeah, I guess so.
You can just read the app.
Okay. Applicant proposing to redesign the entrance canopy through the addition of a porte cochere and add a recreational sport court at 216 Route 28 and add a swimming pool at 226 Route 28. Both properties will include redesigning of the parking lots and landscaping. And let's introduce everybody, the committee. Let's run around the table for starters. Steve
O'Neill.
Kelly Adam.
Dick Barton,
Sarah Porter.
Kathy, you
Williams,
know,
Town planner.
yeah, and gentlemen.
Wagner, I'm the field manager, I've been running those two properties.
Nothing mystery, we are engineers.
Yep.
On project.
All right, so we'll let you go ahead and describe the project.
On a 216 Main Street project, basically the buildings. Hotel building is existing currently, okay, and even the what do you call the lobby is there, but it has a smaller canopy. We had to when we purchased the property, we ended up modifying one of the septic system, one bay of it. It was not functioning. So we got all the approvals from a Board of Health and finally it's in the ground now. During that time, we wanted to improve the property from what it was. So what we introduced the sport or the sport court, which would be functional for several sports. Okay. And there was a location where we have shown it is currently, it used to be a sports court there. Okay, because I find out that all the lines and everything and the paving existing there. Okay. But then they were in a given time, I think they were using it for cookout. Okay, and the outside. So the same area.
Wasn't there a pool there originally?
On me.
There was
Wasn't
some
there a
discussion of.
pool there originally?
Pool there. You would
Yeah.
know, he's been around forever.
I think there was a pool there originally, yeah.
The pool was, I think, in the other side. Okay, it wasn't,
Maybe.
it wasn't in on this, but this particular thing, I just saw them, came from the site right now. And then they cleaned the area to prepare for it. And there was existing paving.
Yep.
And there's some line marks are there. So, but at the same time, it was covered with sand before. And they were using it for barbecue and cookout and sitting. So the same location, we are introducing ourselves to put the sports court. Okay, now in the sports court size, we had the conditions we met with the site reviews, and then they were asking us to keep the lights only focused onto the court if it is possible, and we talked in the detail that we will control the function of that thing. After certain hours, nobody can go there. So then neighbors will not disturb at 2 o'clock at night or after 11 o'clock, basically, right? So we will do, and it will be 10-foot fence all around the tennis court or the sports court, 60 by 120. Okay. So it's a standard sports court. It's nothing special about it. There are no, it's only utilized by the guests and for their family. Okay. By doing that, we thought that it's okay to reorganize the parking and then a little bit of islands in the middles, so we can introduce some of the landscaping. And then we are introducing some of the islands where we will put almost around 9 trees. on that thing for the shades. Also, we because of the type of hotel and we trying to improve it, I thought the existing canopy was too short. And it was not enough to drive under, so people cannot check in. So by doing this site modification, we have prepared, like you can see on a drawing, which I can show you. This elevation shows the drawing 4, okay?
Which number?
Yeah, drawing 4 shows.
Four.
Yeah, everybody has that? Yeah. I have a set of the lights, I can show them. Yeah, drawing number 4 shows the extension of the canopy, okay? And the existing canopy will be removed. And it is becoming the elevation of the proposed is becoming a wider to the width of the building, and it basically fits there, okay? So if you go to the next drawing, which is drawing number 5, which shows how the traffic moves around at that. The people can come in from the Route 28. They can go in, they can check in under the canopy. The lobby is right on the right-hand side. And then it still keeps the traffic for the fire marshals open on the two-way traffic next to the canopy. So that if somebody's parked here, we are not blocking any traffic coming in and out of the hotel parking lot. And so this area will be very much improved than what it is now currently. Okay, and in terms of the type of construction, I mean, on your drawings, I don't have a structural drawing, but I have a set here. I can give you the two, which is the structural details of the two things. It was just finished up recently, but I have a set here.
Give them to Sarah there. She likes that stuff.
Can you go over what the type of
Yeah, can you do-
construction is?
So these are I'm adding
Materials of the construction?
sheet S1 and S2, okay?
Okay, and
I have about 5 sets here. I can give it to you.
We didn't have them there. Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna need one for the record now. Need them electronically.
And then-
Did you get one, Sarah?
Go over that.
No. I mean, I've got it. Yeah, thank you. I think I've got this on.
Yeah, I did yours.
Oh, I didn't.
You can have mine after.
Oh, no, I've got this. I've got this.
You got that one?
it's the same.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah,
This
okay.
is one.
Yeah, I
So
see.
we don't, right?
S1.
Oh, yeah, we don't have that. We had that.
This is the same we got. Yeah, we have.
5 sheets.
Yeah.
You don't have a last sheet.
There's 2 sheets at the end there that
Oh,
saying
okay.
you don't have.
All right,
Can you go over those 2 sheets? for
Yes,
us?
I can. Okay. So you don't have it up there, but if you'd like to see on one of my sets, I can show you. There'll be 4 piers, okay? The existing piers will be taken out. The 2 piers, four out there, where the concrete sidewalk, which is right adjacent to, which is connects to the town sidewalk.
Mhm.
So that anybody's walking from there, they can come to the concrete sidewalk and come into the lobby, go in and out. The people who are driving in, as I showed you on previous drawing, they come in here, they drop off the stuff, park their car, and they come. The structure of this is basically the standard, the truss structure on top of it, okay, the 4 piers. Okay, and the
Okay.
yeah, those two drawings on there, on that set. The last, that if you want to take those out and give it to everybody, that's.
No, I just want to know it up. Great,
That's
thank
one.
you.
Right there. I had when I sent her yesterday, but.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, here they are, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that it will have concrete footings on 4 piers.
Mhm.
The piers will come out the ground about 30 inches, 36 inches or so, okay. And then the columns which will be cladded with the materials, exact materials with the corner beams. standard floor. There will be a ceiling, so the plaster ceiling on the under the canopy and some lights. So the roof will be the same shingles as to match existing roof. The siding we are changing the siding on the whole facade here. The same siding to match rest of the building.
Okay.
Because the current build, this one had some very ugly.
Yeah.
So we are plastic, so we're
That was-
taking that out.
Just supposed to be at the bottom and they did the whole.
I know, but this means that. So we are doing that, taking that out
You know,
and then matching the siding. which
All
is
the way
on the-
down to the.
Yeah, all the way to the, fine. So the whole new facade, I think will look nice. We'll go into the rest of the structure. Okay, and we will have a better function for them.
what is the materials for the facade?
The facade is the exact,
Exactly.
yeah, okay, for the column, yeah, and whatnot.
And these here, these are.
These are concrete, that is sonnet leaves.
Yeah.
Okay, so then this will be the, I was going to, we started doing some detail. I have not finished that detail particularly, but basically 16 by 16 square columns.
Yeah.
Okay, and then gutter will go inside the column,
Yeah.
then will come out out on the surface. So it will look pretty.
Are you doing the same dimensions? Should I wait I will wait till you're done with this before I ask my
No,
question.
that's okay. Yeah, because of the 20-inch diameter is a sonotube, okay?
Is it-
And then 16 by 16, the square, it'll be wood cladding. It's like what you see over there.
Is this in real life? I went by today.
On the bottom one, I was going to debate myself, do I really, if you leave the concrete nicely finished, concrete surface, it looks beautiful instead of trying to make those wooden. If you think we should do the wooden, I don't mind doing that also.
I don't know concrete as a rule, but I don't know in this particular case. My question is, I went by there today. What are the dimensions of the
Boxes,
boxes?
I think they are about 20 by 20.
You're not gonna make them that big, are you? I think it's a little too big myself.
It is so see, like if you look at these dimensions, you do need at least the concrete here
Yeah.
to about 20
And the
diameter.
pier comes out of the ground.
Yeah, that is a 20-inch. I mean, 20-inch diameter because of we are supporting the canopy.
Yeah,
Also, when the column comes into it has a base plate and it will have enough room for the base plate. Okay. If I do too small, it would, I think because we're raising the canopy, it will look too slender. It will not look so like this particular one.
Kathy, should I wait for these questions until?
If you can, yeah.
Maybe we could just finish 216 and then we can ask questions.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I think.
So then the rest of the structure is the standard structure, wood structure, prefabricated. It will come in, it will be sheathing and sheet rocks. Okay, and the shingles, asphalt shingles.
Yeah.
So these are the details for the remainder of the structure. And the gutter will be the aluminum gutter will go inside the column and will come out onto the surface. So
You're not going underground like we talked about.
no, because the rest of the site is designed for the drainage. So it will that particular water will go right on the surface.
Okay.
Okay.
I think it's pretty banged up, doesn't it?
So I think, and then as far as we reviewed the landscaping with the site reviews.
I missed the part. What's the size of the posts to get them down?
The sonotubes, 20-inch.
Yeah, right, but what's standing on
Yeah,
top?
the one above is 16 by 16, 16 inches.
It goes up
Wrapped in
to
AZAC.
Which is,
Wrapped in AZAC. Wrapped in something, wrapped in
yeah,
AZAC.
but this will be wrapped, final dimension will be 16 by 16, not any bigger. The column itself, post itself, is a small size.
Like wrapped in, yeah, but it's really big wrapping it.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about that later.
But you talked about it, just one.
Okay. So, and then I think the landscaping we reviewed with the site plan. I'm just seeing whatever question I can answer that. I have all the trees we haven't identified now what we do, whether it's red maple or the white oak. Okay. Inside the parking area. The parking area will be striped properly, okay?
Mhm.
And so that's our proposed work for 216.
Oh, I'm gonna wait for Kathy's directions. Or
You done with 216? You should we?
Yep. Do you want to ask questions?
Do we want to ask questions on everything, or I guess we can do it on each one?
Probably easy.
Yeah. Steve, you have any questions?
Yeah, can we just go back to, I'll just use Charlie's picture here for the time being.
So we're only dealing with the westerly building right now in the. So it is a regular tennis court, right?
Regular tennis court.
It is a tennis court.
60 by 120.
I don't spell tennis right either, by the way.
Right, see,
Tennis, so that is.
two
I
wins.
said that. And then it will be.
No big deal.
I speak one language, so I can't say anything.
Well,
Well,
I think it's gonna be tennis or pickleball.
But right now it's designed for tennis court. It could be a pickleball also, because nowadays the pickleball people like to come and play. But as we are limiting the hours of play, so then there is no, pickleball makes a little more noise.
Right, I was gonna say that.
Yeah, and the surface it's a plexi paved surface. It's still, the noise comes not from the surface, it comes from the paddle. Yeah, and the paddle hits it and then it makes it. And
Right.
but we do this in the noise level and whatnot. It just depends how many times this is.
Yeah.
The people are out here.
Yeah, I think you control it by when you play in the morning and when you end out in the afternoon.
And,
Don't play at night, so, yeah.
No, I think we will control it at night for the
Especially at night,
right.
and we're just recreational. For families, father,
Right.
kid situations,
Right,
maybe no complications, no. We're expected to use it as a leisure thing,
Yeah.
not aggressive playing.
And what we are doing also to control some sound absorbance, okay? On the edge of the property lines, which we are showing it, that we can put the evergreen trees, which will close out, okay? And we will try to select the trees, which could be about 8 to 9 feet tall at least, right? So then right away, you will get some benefit of it. Our fence has is a 10-foot fence, and the fence is chain link fence, so it's open. But if it's necessary, we find that we are really bothering, we can put a screen, the material on it. But I think the sound, horizontal travel sound, we try to absorb it in a tree. That would be much better. And the fence, the rigid fence, which we have at the property line. Okay. So I don't think if the neighbors are really concerned, and if they come out to us and complain to Wagner that we are really bothered and this and that, we'll work with them. We're going to be a good neighbor. It's not that, but at least we want to give them the guests some attraction. So they can
Communicated with the residential neighbors next door?
I never met them, no.
Okay,
And I think
might be a good idea.
we could do that.
Yeah.
I tried to reach out last year in the beginning, spoke to a couple of them, just generally happy, but I didn't.
Because we've heard about problems before with the ping, ping.
No, we can meet them. Yeah, I think as being the tennis player and the pickleball, I have played a couple of times. And I do.
Can be a little noisy.
In Cambridge, in Brookline, they're complaining, right? But again, it's a recreational system. How can you complain? You can control at night,
Right.
but in the daytime, that sound is less than the traffic sound in the Route 28. Okay, so I mean, people has to be reasonable on that. That's what I believe. Okay, I mean, if you
And it would be very flexible.
and we are on a setback of the court, we are not right against the property line, okay? So we meet all the setbacks. We're not looking for variance to push our court all the way to their property. Yeah. So I think we are 20 feet away with the fence, and then the court itself will be another 5-6 feet inside, okay? So you are still 20-25 feet from people who are playing. Yeah. So I think they should be okay, right? I mean, that's for me to say, and we will still work with them and hear their if there's any.
Okay, Steve, continue.
No, can we talk about the building?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so we just go back to this,
Yeah.
I'm kind of partial to these boxes. I don't think they should be real big boxes, but I just think it sets off the building a little more than the concrete. So I'm not too partial with the concrete.
If we do the concrete things finished nicely, I think it will look better than
But what do you mean finish nicely? You gonna
finish
paint
means
it?
the concrete finish itself, okay?
Yeah.
Now, if you start the covering up like this, okay, it just gets bigger because of 20-inch diameter, and then if I cover it up, it gets a volume wise, it gets bigger.
But you can make them,
Good, I think.
you can make them, you don't have to make them too big. I guess what I'm coming at is that these look like they have a little flower box on top of them.
Yeah, I'm not making that big.
No, I don't, I'm not suggesting that you make them too big, but something, that I'm just not too partial with the concrete itself.
Okay, so if you want me to cover, I will create a box.
How about this? Is there a way, instead of the box, maybe to hide from the street side, the concrete, put a little painter? No, painter?
Yeah.
Well, because when we talked to we did the follow box because just to make it look a little better. Right.
On my plan,
If we can dress the concrete,
yeah,
if it doesn't add too much to that boldness in there, we definitely do that.
Yeah.
I have introduced the landscape plan on that, around that pier. Okay.
Oh, that's good.
There's a landscape island there.
Yeah,
So what this will be planted,
yeah,
okay, so that
Okay.
it won't be sticking out
all right,
as a, so if I take this and my landscape, I can have some shrub here,
okay,
okay, I can have shrub there, plus in between there, right?
yeah.
So then the cars, I wanted to separate this to traffic. So I think this will break up. Yeah,
What are you proposing?
this is on a drawing number 5.
Yeah, what are you proposing?
So see, I have this little landscape area here around the piers.
That looks like just like a curve.
Yeah,
What's the
that's a
material?
curve here, and this is all landscape area.
It's not shown as landscape.
Planting.
Yeah, I don't see it.
Yeah, okay, so I will do some planting on there, okay? So that way the concrete will not be visible from outside that much. It'll take the curse out of it.
Just want to say that what this looks like is when you go to a parking lot at like a supermarket and they have a light pole, it's sitting on top of a sonotube. And how they finish that makes a big difference. Most people just pull the sonotube off and it looks like.
It depends what
So
kind
they
of.
they can finish it and they can do things at that time to make it look better. I think it might need to be a combination of both of those. Do what you can do to have a rubbed finish of the concrete, in addition to maybe having some planters that kind of hide that. You need it because you don't want people to run into it and knock the canopy.
Yeah, that is
Right, right.
I don't want to bring the
I think-
thing all the way down there.
I think myself, what it shows on here, I don't like the idea of concrete at all.
Okay.
And I think the way it's shown on the photo here makes a little bit more sense, especially if you're gonna make it like jazz it up a little bit with the planters. As long as the well's taken care of, I think it would be fine.
If you don't like a concrete, option wise, because I don't want to take a wood all the way down, because it's a damages to the
Right.
cars and whatnot.
I see.
So I could do encase that area with some sort of brick. And there'll be like a 20 by 24 by 24. It could be the brick pier.
So I'm sorry, just one more thing.
I'm sorry.
I don't want to make it, I'm making this more complicated. All I wanted to do is, I appreciate, first of all, let me say this, appreciate you investing in the town, keep me investing, so thank you very much for that. That said, I think I'm coming around to what Kathy just said relative to finishing off the concrete, buffing it up a little bit, and then maybe some planters here, so let's keep it simple. Your point about not wanting to damage that, and I can see that snow shoveling and plowing, that type of thing, those could get damaged very easily, so let's keep it simple. All right,
I think when I get done. Thanks.
Yeah.
We are committed.
It needs to be labeled on the construction plans, how you want the finish done, or you will get the crappiest version.
Sure.
Is it my turn yet?
sorry, sir.
Steve, anything else?
My turn.
No,
Okay, Kelly?
Oh, that's it.
No, Sarah?
Well, I have a big issue with these piers. One, they're way too big for. In my opinion.
The 16 by 16 or the actual foundation?
The column, the concrete itself is going to be 16 by 16,
No,
correct?
concrete itself is 20-inch diameter.
I mean, 20" by 20".
20-inch diameter is from here
It's a
to
big-
about here.
right,
It's about
20"
here.
diameter. So
So
how far out of the ground is that coming?
this plan is 17 inches. Okay, so if you go,
Yeah, I know, but tell me how far out of the
it's going to come
ground.
about.
Okay. So you've got this
30 inches,
20" wide, round,
20-inch diameter,
20 diameter concrete.
right?
That's huge. It's huge. Can it be smaller with more steel in it?
If you wish, I can look into, try to make it the smaller, maybe 16, okay? Then I have to look at my structure design, okay?
Okay,
I can try to make it, instead of 20, I can go 16.
Right.
Because the column base plate is the one, because the canopy relies on a strength of anchoring
base
into
plate.
that, right? Okay.
okay, and the bolt.
So I don't want to come out and say, yes, I can make it,
Okay.
and then I cannot do it. That's it.
I just think 20 inches
I think
is
it's,
huge, and then you're trimming it out,
okay,
and that means it's gonna be what? I don't know, 26 inches diameter? 26, that's this big
would this be okay?
Yeah.
That's a 17.
at the
So
most.
I can make, okay, I won't make any bigger than 16.
But that's the
Okay,
concrete.
fine.
Wait. That's the concrete.
I'm not gonna do the box, I think we
Okay,
talked them out of it.
yeah, but so how far, am I asking the right questions?
It's 30 inches above the ground.
So this concrete round
Yeah,
thing
comes up
is
30
gonna
inches.
be 30 inches.
Right.
Out of the ground.
Correct.
That's
Okay.
this high.
Yes.
So I think on some buildings in the city, that's fine. I happen to like materials like that. But not on a building like this, I think. And this is the first thing that you see. In fact, when I went by the site today, that's the only thing I saw were those existing boxes.
But this is,
So I'm just trying to figure out a way, or you figure out a way in which these things
That's
can
right.
be lessened.
so
They're
this is,
hundreds of piers, so.
that's the reason I just explained that by having the planter around it, I did not have a planter before. I introduced the planter because just to take the curse out of that concrete.
Okay. Can I ask a question about your planter?
Sure,
Is that planter going to
3 feet
extend
wide. And wide,
between
between the curb and curb.
curb and foot? Okay, I'm looking at the building from the street. And as I'm looking at this way, what is the overall dimension of this in the building?
From here to here
Yeah.
is the 3 feet, okay? That going from this side to this side is 3 feet. I'm coming out also almost 3 feet. coming. I will have a room for planting. If I have some plant there in the front of the pier, and I have some plant on the back of the pier, and then in between, you won't see the concrete.
I'm not worried about the concrete. I am concerned about, I'm more concerned about
The look.
the size, how big it is. I don't know, maybe I'm the only one who's concerned. That's,
Yeah, I share your
That's my
concern.
concern.
I would too, yeah.
I'd like to see
But
more drawings of.
What is the minimum amount of concrete you can get away with? Still meeting the building code of supporting the weight of the roof.
Well,
I'm telling you, anything less than anything less than 16 inches,
Mhm.
I'll be fighting as a structural engineer.
Yeah.
Okay, because I
I
do
want it to
want,
fall down either.
no,
so now you have two columns here. Is that decorative?
that
or
is also another pier right there. It's a,
Same size as this?
yeah, same size as that.
I mean, I don't know what to say.
For the statics of it, when we first came in here, what we did was to make this a flower box.
Mhm.
And I was hoping to do with that, it's make it look like a vase, like a big vase, where the columns will come from. This is gonna be, the size of it's gonna be long.
I like that. I just think it's gonna be,
I don't like it.
You don't like it?
That's just me, but that's my opinion.
This is the real scale.
I know.
If you look at it as a proportion, I think that's a real scale. Okay, real means it's a scale down, but everything you see there is the right height. The people, the car, the space between them, the size of the pier
Well,
of there.
I'm
So
drawing.
I don't think personally,
I don't know.
It's just a utilitarian. It's just as you're saying, it's the first thing you see. You're investing a lot of money. What do you want it to look?
And just to see a concrete pier. I don't think does it.
No, I don't either, but I'm just trying to think of
I don't know,
some of
this photo here. Even if you put a round one in there and I don't know how you'd cover it, maybe with the different color or something, but I do feel that this is more attractive. If I had an inclination to go into that, that's,
you rather see it covered to all the way to the base.
it's going to look a lot better than just to have something that's like have a light pole in a parking lot and just see a round tube up there with that pier on it.
Would you accept
Yes.
instead of concrete, a brick pier?
Yes, that's a definite.
I think the brick pier will take the different material.
Yeah, it would.
I could work with putting the brick pier there.
Okay.
I would just like you to see it as simple as possible.
No, it's, I saw when I was driving here, I saw so many hotels on the canopies. Believe me, this picture is going to be, it's in my opinion, I think, some of them I see it.
I like the idea of the brick. Working with the brick, but question for you, is there a reason why that concrete pier has to come 3 feet out of the ground? Is that code? Building code?
Just for somebody hits it in the cars and whatnot, I don't want the wood.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
When you say brick, are you gonna make it square or could you use a different type of material that could go on and keep the circular
I need
size
to,
and be smaller?
because see, round brick,
Brick, but stone.
it's just, oh, yeah, it's.
Veneer.
Stones, we could make it kind of look like try to bring a look of Cape Cod, make something like a bear or something that will look out of,
Interesting.
the time period that, that's looking on my pictures of it. It could be the Thunderbird from what I found a picture there, and it was nice back then, when they first built. It used to be like the Thunderbird back long time ago. I found a picture in the attic and it was nice. It was well kept. It was a nice spot.
Looks good.
So what kind of style that we are definitely open for, besides the needs for the building. That we can follow. And
Don't see any brick, what else we got going on makes
Right.
sense, whereas a more natural stone veneer might. I'm not gonna say one way or the other, I'm just
I don't
throwing it
think-
out.
we could make patterns into the cement.
No, keep it simple.
Keep it simple.
Oh, you mean for the,
Well, like make it look like wood, but it's made of cement.
yeah, but I like that look, but I don't think it really looks like wood. It always looks like concrete that has a texture to it.
Right.
I just think if you can keep your circular shape, it might keep you smaller in diameter, which is kind of what
Yeah.
you were talking about. And then I don't really think adding like and again, I don't know what color brick you're talking about, but then you'd be squaring it out. So maybe a more of
I think circular.
a stone veneer, you could like. You can apply them, so to speak, or something along those lines that might work.
Look at it's one of the year that's
Yeah.
made for the outdoor.
I mean, it's a, you know, the architecturally, the. Basically that little, the point, the whole facade of the building on both sides and whatnot, that's the one which is the taking.
Yeah.
The pier itself, it's regardless what you do, I think it will look very nice, particularly if I have some planting in front of it. I will do, it's not a problem for us to utilize some different material, to like what you say, the stone cladding, if you want to do that, we can do that. But this building is not like a big, you know, what you call it,
It's
yeah.
simple.
Yeah, so it's, the stone does not go into, in my opinion, again, all right. But because of what happens, the building is straightforward, it's a wooden siding and the asphalt shingles and so I try to avoid the side to
It's vinyl siding, not wood siding.
vinyl side.
Yes, let's be.
Unfortunately, but I
That's
don't want,
what it is.
unfortunately, but I don't want to paint that at this point.
No, I don't
right?
blame you.
Yeah.
Can I just ask one more question?
Yeah, go ahead.
I forget. Are you putting, is it possible to put 1x6 trim on those corners, at least?
1x6, yeah.
Yeah,
I have a
right here.
4 inches like this.
Here,
we can
this
do that,
one.
yeah.
Yeah, I just think the 1x4 is.
The
really good. It's not enough.
current, the current fascias all around and the corner bit, they're about 4.5.
Yeah, so
Okay, so I could do it, but make it larger if you
No,
want. Yeah.
part of it,
I
the
did,
building.
yes.
Like right here.
The corner boards, yeah.
And what I did here, this is, I changed the directional for the siding, okay?
Yeah.
Is that vinyl siding that you're then putting at an angle?
Well, like if I would change that part of the thing to the different material, wood or something, I'll do that. I can imagine.
I think it's good to keep it the same, don't you?
Yeah, they could do. it.
You-
Keep
People,
it horizontal.
I think this, you're gonna find weird things happening in that scene you're trying.
No, what I would do that same treatment there. No, that same treatment has a cap on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it would just reek, this is vinyl siding.
It does.
I'm fine with horizontal personally.
I am from,
Are you okay with horizontal?
yeah.
Okay,
I think so, does that mean,
I'm good with it.
Simple.
I'm good with it. I had horizontal. I
no, you changed a bunch of stuff, picky dicky on me.
Well, you were.
I didn't notice it.
I get some
You're asking
comments.
questions Like, wait a minute, look, I love it better.
I read your, the design criterias, and that's what they were recommending. So then that's why I changed it.
Well, I think that typically they want to see different types of materials or different types of uses and whatever, but I mean, I think that seems, it's just, that was a little forced. I think it's either like, sometimes we would have said, like, if you, maybe shingles on that end or something, but I think on this particular clapboard.
Horizontal, stay with it, right?
I think so.
That's fine, that's good. One decision I can,
Let's keep it all as simple as possible. It's a simple building with a lot of stuff going on in that site. I'd be looking at the pool and the canopy and the tennis court and the planting.
I do need to talk about the landscaping.
Yeah,
so anything else?
I'll,
I don't know,
I'll get to that.
okay.
And then you can add. Anything else, Sarah?
I was just curious about are you rebuilding the decks or are they the same decks? I just saw it on the spec sheet. Deck
On the other,
wood, they're existing, right?
Yeah, that's meant for proposed work, not existing,
Correct.
so, and I think they put in stuff that was existing.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I was wondering. Because then I was gonna ask, well, what kind of wood are we talking about? But it's the deck you already have.
right.
Anything else? You all set? Okay.
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks. Do you
You
require
saw this
board?
guy.
Yeah, do you require board appeals for what you're looking for?
I'm sorry.
Are you going to be required to go to the board of appeals?
For we are going to the next job now?
No,
No. I'm just asking
There is not,
for either one of them.
there is nothing I'm going for Board of Appeals, no.
Yeah. Are you sure of that? Have you checked with the top of the
It's all,
town administrator, I mean, the building,
it's all
Commissioner?
by rights.
it is, okay.
You're not adding it.
He's not
Uh,
adding any new parking demand, which would trigger meeting 301.
Okay. I mean, these plans don't also, I guess somebody's been through the parking, these plans say how many parking spaces are here, but it doesn't say what the existing parking spaces are and whether they're, what's required and whether it meets requirements. Not like I'd usually see on a plan.
The existing does not meet. The new one does not meet. Okay, I talked to
Okay.
the building inspector, commissioner there, right? And he said we will.
How many units are here?
Huh?
How many units?
He's seen that, yeah.
90.
90?
90?
I think.
Are you adding parking?
No,
No.
So you're not adding parking and.
Well, I got some real problems with what it shows for parking and what I'm seeing certainly, I can't imagine does not require a Board of Appeals approval, especially on the next parcel we'll discuss.
So yes,
Yeah.
this parcel.
This parcel, I think, is okay. I'm not sure what the zoning is on the property next door, because we're within, it is all B2, you said? Really, even those lots on Marigold or whatever.
Yeah, they're.
The residential uses are on Marigold, I think it is. Next door.
This all abuts Route 28, doesn't abut Miracle.
Oh,
it
no,
abuts-
actually,
I'm sorry.
this
it abuts
back
residential
section
property.
here, that's residential
I'm sorry,
property, right?
yes, the lots.
And
that-
normally there'd be a 20-foot requirement for
Yes,
buffer.
and there is. And that.
It is set back all the 20 foot.
Well, in the area of the tennis court it is.
Right.
That parking before that, that's also backing up to a residence.
Yeah.
Or
that-
multi-resident.
that Has that, what.
Is that one's own business?
Yeah, that's in a business zone.
Okay. It could be, yeah.
Well, it's half. I looked at it. I know what
Was
you're
it?
talking about now, like.
Yeah,
half
this
is
area
business
here,
and
I'll say.
then
The front area is.
Right,
all-
okay.
There's a different
Right.
buffer requirement if you're next to a residentially zoned property than if you're next to a commercial property. They are adding a 6-foot fence in that, along that
Okay.
side.
I can see that. And this is good. I mean, I like seeing most of these things. And, whatever you can do to upgrade that property, I think is a great thing. I'm a little confused about the plan in general in terms of, I don't know whether it's, especially again, when we get to the pool on the next site, whether it's meeting proper setbacks or not. We've got some plantings here. I don't know what they are. We've got pictures here of different things which don't seem to correspond with that, nor do they have the quantity. None of the landscaping stuff seems to make much
What I have done.
sense.
uh,
I mean, you got dogwood and you got red maple, and yet there's none on the,
Right.
what
on
I
the
have
thing.
done Here now, and
Yeah.
that is, I may need a larger plan to put everything, but I labeled this ABELHR. I'm trying to get it clear. And then in the circles, if you see those things, that is where the nature
Yeah.
is now.
well, I mean, for instance, if I look at the plant list and D is a hydrangea, and if you look at the picture over here, D is a daylily.
If you look at the circle within letters, which you cannot see it over here, unfortunately. Okay, I need to get you the larger plan.
Yeah, it's tough to make them out, yeah.
So all those circles with the identifies what those trees are.
Yeah.
Okay,
And considering we're making changes here, I mean, I'd like to see, and I think this is what Kathy said too, hopefully the property can come up to zoning requirements as much as possible. And to me, that would mean, other than the few shrubs that are there right now, in that westerly island, toward 28, in my estimation, there should be 1 or 2 trees in there as well. Same thing goes for the other side in the next
Sure.
we'll talk about.
Yeah.
so
Along
we
the.
have an amount of trees, I'm going to introduce it. It's all over, along with the property.
Yeah.
Inside the property, on both sides, okay?
Okay, good.
And we are planting, so we have quantity of the things. I had a table. I took out the quantity because we're going to add more to the quantities.
Yeah,
Okay,
okay.
so,
Alright.
but
And the existing trees should remain. I know that they're still in front. The rest of the site seems to have been all bulldozed now.
just in the front.
The trees in front of 216, that all beautiful landscaping, that looks like this, don't touch it. It
You're not
looks
touching.
great, but you're planting in your plan. Don't show anything on your plan.
I did all this tree you see over here right now. If you look at the pictures, I have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that big tree, that's exactly what that is.
Okay,
This looks like this is proposed versus what you're saying is don't touch it. This
what you
looks
should
great.
show is existing and you should show proposed separately.
It's very, and I said this in site plan review, landscaping plans are very confusing with regard to what's existing and what's proposed. So I was assuming that this was just everything here is proposed.
Okay, I see.
Because you don't differentiate these little green things mean A, which is an evergreen. So that to me looks like you're planting evergreens in the front and you're not, right?
See what the note underneath my drawing?
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah,
does
it
say
says.
Those are trees, but you're adding evergreens
preserve.
and you're adding a
No,
bunch
look
of.
at these. I adding some, it's a preserve the existing trees, okay?
Just fix-
And then there are E, then F and E, I guess, those are the, and then there's the new one, which but what I like to do, Kathy, and I think it's a planning board and the,
You don't come to the planning board.
right, so what I like to do is get to the larger landscape plan with all the trees identified, and just for your.
You're gonna need to submit something to Mark, and so you should submit all of that on Mark. I have some comments. I don't know whether.
Now, yeah, I'm not quite done yet.
Okay, good.
And again, I'm gonna have, I guess, more on the next property. Unfortunately. In trying to decipher the plan as well, I take it the red line in front, that is the state property line.
Yes,
Okay. The little blue line that seems to kind of go around the edge, is that existing or what had been existing pavement?
the green line is the property line, okay?
Yeah,
And the green line is the property, and then the driveway comes in and intersect to the back of the sidewalk. Existing sidewalk. So I'm taking the sidewalk into like, if you look at the bigger plan again, the one conference data. How I'm treating the sidewalk and where one of my question, the existing sidewalk is all asphalt, okay?
the existing sidewalk is on your property, is it, you're saying?
No.
No.
Existing sidewalk is the city,
Is on the state.
so, but I need to bring the curb and then traffic to transfer
All right,
to my sidewalk, which is the concrete.
okay,
Okay, my side, when you come in, so that side, you see the line, which is the existing landscape line. I'm not changing that in the front. I'm looking on the drawing file.
all right, and are you meeting the criteria for in-lot trees on this lot?
And last,
We know.
inside,
I
Have you
don't
been-
think.
I can't tell what's a bush
I
and
don't
what's a
think you
tree.
are. I think.
It looks sparse to me.
Yeah.
So,
You need trees, and I think.
Yeah,
and you need them for in the parking lot, you need them every 7, 9, what is it? It should even know that.
total
by
of
now.
9 parking.
per
I
eight.
added
One tree within the parking lot
within
for every 9 spaces, 8 spaces, I'm sorry.
Total parking, total trees I introduced here
And they have to be in the parking lot.
in the parking.
Yeah, not, they don't count for around the side of the parking lot
No,
in
no,
the buffer, and that whole buffer needs to be
separate.
treed, and I believe you're fencing it as well.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
See, nothing gave me quantities or anything.
And those are the, the red maple or the white oak.
Okay, there's no red maples listed in the plant list. at
Right,
all.
and white oak is
An
there,
azalea and a hydrangea are not, they're shrubs, they're not trees.
right?
No, I'm saying red R. If you look at R, that's a tree.
Ah,
Red maple is the tree. So all the interiors,
But the plant list doesn't show that in the plant list.
But where does it
Doesn't show dogwood, it
where
doesn't
does
show
it
red
even
maple.
show R on the site plan?
Which CD are you looking at, Kathy?
Get two.
The first, yeah, number 2, yeah.
where does it say our on cheat?
so these two trees is by larger inside the parking lot.
So-
The white oak and the red maple. All
Okay.
the circles which you see here, those are supposed to.
We're just saying that the pictures don't correspond with the plant list.
Okay, so, but I'm just saying in
Okay.
in a presentation to you,
So you,
that those will be either one of those three.
are you adding pitch pines? I mean, you have a bunch of pitch pines. Here.
Big pine is
Adding them?
The pitch pine is
Pitch
there, I
pines, or
take
you're
it.
adding pitch pines in your landscape plan?
the one in the pine in the front. evergreens in the front.
Not asking about an evergreen, I'm asking about a pitch pine, which is C on your plant list. Not A, which is an evergreen. Pitch pine isn't the pretty.
Well, I don't know if you can even buy pitch pines.
Where's C? I don't see C.
C up in the plant list, up the top on the left.
There might be some pitch pines in the existing buffer, that's all. Yeah.
You have that, I took it out, isn't it? I took that out. Which plan you see that?
What
Wait.
number?
Wait.
Number two, page two?
Page two with the plant list at the top.
No, I think that's, I'm sorry about that, Kathy, but maybe this drawing, which I don't know whether you have updated.
Got the one that you sent me last night,
Yeah.
and that's what they have.
Oh, mine doesn't have.
Oh, I took it out of there.
Oh, it's out all together on the.
The
this new
ones
one,
I
yeah.
gave you have a set of plans, so whatever I gave you versus what. think
The
about it.
one I just submitted it, that might have been revised, okay? Because I do it, we were working on it, try to get this drawing as quickly as possible.
Okay.
You need to do a lot of work on your landscape.
Yeah.
plan.
Yeah, and it needs to be legible and they need to have the quantity and they need to show where they are. Need to show existing trees and what's planned to be planted.
I
Yeah,
have no argument against that.
okay,
I would do that.
all right. And the front buffers should meet present code as well. Yeah. Kathy, add to that.
Well,
I have the same concerns in terms of the pedestals. But I think we talked enough about that.
oh, wait, hang on.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned of. I would think the tennis court would require Board of Appeals. I think that comes under Board of Appeals use for a recreation.
Or is it an accessory
recreational
use to a
use.
motel?
Hmm?
Is it an accessory use to a motel because it's only being used by motel? I'm just saying what was said.
I don't know. I'm not sure. Is that what they said?
Yeah, I believe for the.
I would question that, having been through that kind of stuff before. That I don't know that a tennis court is accessory to a motel use. But I mean, ain't the boss when it comes to that. They can certainly say that, but I would have some qualms as to, and it's nice. I think it's a nice thing to have. But if I was one of the residents backing up to within 20 feet of that tennis court, I might not be real happy about it. That's why I think you should try and, if nothing else, it needs to be buffered very heavily in that area. I have other comments on the property next door as well, but Kathy, go. I think that's all I had otherwise.
I think you and I. are
We
somewhat
both hit it
sympathetic.
together. Okay.
All they would say is that this particular area, you have the fencing here, you have the parking here. Typically, we have trees, 3-inch caliper tree every 20 feet along
Right.
here. And then here, you need to be severely planting this with whether it's the evergreens or whatever. You have very few trees that are really planting here for your neighbors. It's fine. I'm glad to hear that that's not what you're proposing. 'Cause
No, that was.
I don't mind mature pitch pines if they're being
Well,
retained,
you're
but I
putting
don't
one
think
here.
you'd be able to find them to plant anyways.
You're putting one right in the front along Route 28. I just don't think that's the prettiest tree. And even in this island, and thank you for putting that in. I appreciate that. I think that does give you a lot of space to put in some additional. Again, these aren't all trees. So when you're counting up them, you need to be sure that they're 3-inch caliper trees. And I think what Mark was saying is if you could get the required number of 9 or whatever, it would make him happy.
That's what. The market say 9 and I try to accommodate Wood Island. The whole against the property line, they're all the evergreens, okay? So they are,
But they're not, that's not what's being represented on this plan.
oh, okay, I'm sorry, it's.
I'm just saying, I can read a plan. Sarah can read a plan. She's an architect.
I
That's
sent
not what's
you
being
last night.
represented on the plan.
I sent you the plan last night.
Yep,
Which one?
and that's fine. You didn't have to send me anything because we're just gonna say, this is what you need to do.
Okay,
So don't worry about it. It's just gonna be a note that this is what we're gonna be looking for. That.
thank you.
All right. So shall we move on to 226? 226 is the so-called annex, I guess. And changes there are to, again, parking, landscaping, and the addition of a pool and play area, and so forth. Anything you want to say about that?
Okay, so basically we are requesting first of all, the site has been the entire septic system on the site since we bought the property and to be redone. So we have a completely new septic system for the entire hotel and the cottages. Right?
That's being worked on now. Apparently the septic's going in now.
That's all done.
Okay,
Now it's been approved by the Board of Health. We have gone through and got it installed.
okay,
So that's why the site, when you look at it, it has been all dug out at that point, okay? And that was because of septic system construction, okay? So now it's in our planning, my proposed plan on that site is as you can see, the layout of the parking, which we have introduced. And then also we are proposing a swimming pool. Now, on the swimming pool, we have because of the two property lines, it happens to be owned by the same, the two corporations separate, but it's owned by the same entity.
Right.
Basically. Okay. So what happens here, that swimming pool we have located at the property line. And that is about 20-foot setback required from the property line. Unfortunately, I don't have enough room to accommodate the swimming pool with the slides and the stone structure, which we are proposing there. Okay, so we will have to request for the variance on that with the town for particular.
so you are gonna, okay,
Yes.
so you're looking for a variance, I guess, yeah. A variance relevant to the setbacks from the road, apparently, or from the lot, your inner lot line as well, okay. I think you need them from the road as well, right?
From the road.
You need 30 feet from the road, and this isn't showing 30 feet.
I meet 35 feet right now.
Patio?
35 feet.
No,
You're showing a composite
Stone.
deck.
Oh.
What's a composite deck? Is that wood or stone?
The parking is it is the
Decking around the pool?
The decking around the pool, it's my understanding that the 30-foot setback is supposed to be just planted material.
So
So your deck is extending well into the front setback.
I'm on the 21 feet to the edge of the deck.
Right, it needs to be
But the
30.
Swimming pool itself at a 30. 30.
I believe it's the deck. You can ask.
I understood
The
that.
deck is not supported by anything. It's a
It's
patio.
not a structure. It's a.
Yeah, but it's still- it's
Considered a
supposed-
landscape feature.
It's a,
I think it, well,
We were checking that, but I
Depends.
believe we, on that
yeah,
part. I mean,
it's still a patio, and that's supposed to be just organic material in terms of
That's the
in
20
terms of
feet.
the front buffer.
That's the 20 feet is the buffer.
20?
30-foot.
Oh, 30 is the
setback.
building. Okay, that's right.
Structures.
Okay.
Mm.
So right now, what I see that we're going to,
So is that the 21 feet you're showing there?
yeah, it's a 21 feet to the edge of our pool fence.
Okay. All right.
And the pool itself is a 35 feet,
Okay, then. Yeah. All right.
35, 36 feet
Thank
actually. So, and then also I have another restriction here is that my septic system, age of the septic system, I have to fit. So the pool has been fit into the tight space there. Okay. On the right side, I have a driveway, and then that I cannot go too far into it. So that's why we have to go request for the variance on that. So the rest of the stuff, which is there is a children playground there, which is all the grass area in the front, and then children playground will have their playing surface, some sort of rubberize the materials. Okay. So, and the rest of the thing is my parking, and we are all the landscape area. We are introducing the planters on because I cannot put the trees on the.
Can you also explain the spaces on the easterly lot line, which seems to go right up to the lot line, and they don't do that now? Or actually, if I look at Google Earth, I see like what I would call half spaces that people seem to stick out with. If I look at my nice Google Earth right on my phone here. There's one car parked over there and you can see how he's sticking way out and the spaces all seem to be like half spaces.
There are trees.
There's trees too, but if you look at the spaces,
So the,
Oh, I see.
the lines have been.
and this is showing, now is the blue line on that plan? Is that kind of where the existing
It's the,
pavement is or was?
yes, the existing pavement,
Is the blue line. So you're putting spaces into what would or should be the buffer there, correct?
Is there?
because what it is that for the fire trucks to go around and to have the access to it, if currently they were the parkings, they were marked, actually they have the parking marked on it, okay? If the blue line is the age of the pavement, but they are parking on the gravel at that point.
So right now they're kind of parking into
parking
what
into-
more or less a buffer or should have been or was.
Okay.
Well, and you're now planning on using that as parking and your parking calculations, which look to be going right up to the lot line, which I think is number one, we're going to require Board of Appeals. And number two, I don't think it's going to be looked at very favorably.
So it's a minimum setback, I think is what, 5 feet?
You have to have 10 feet,
15 feet to
10
the,
feet.
to the commercial?
10
Side
feet.
yard setback is 10 feet.
It's business zone next door, so you need a 10-foot buffer on that side.
Right, so 10 foot there.
Fancy.
I may have to do the one-way traffic there then. That's what I have to do.
I think that's.
But I'm sorry, I kind of interrupted too. Go.
Because remember when you were doing one-way traffic before?
You didn't
I
like
was
it.
happy with it. I think what you need to do is you have an existing conditions plan. I thought it showed it being over the property line. There's a fence there
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
I think people are parking all the way up to that fence.
Correct.
I think you need to show clearly what's existing and what you're proposing to identify how much relief you're actually asking for, or whether you're asking to maintain the existing condition. Once you trigger some of these things, you have to meet it to the maximum extent practicable. So you have to show why you can't. I think if you try to do it there, they would lose all that road parking, and that would be an issue, because then you'd be underparked, right?
Do you have any more room for parking in the back?
No, this is a.
You got wetlands restrictions there?
Wetland
Yeah,
buffer,
yeah.
buffer zones.
Hmm.
So we're not touching that. It's a, if you had to touch that, we have to go for a lot of different variances.
You probably need a stormwater permit.
So we try to stay out.
Steve, Charlie, you got anything else?
No, I'm just curious as to, it's designed for the general public to come in here,
No,
I don't think so.
just for guests.
Just forget.
just for guests.
Right, we don't have any restaurants or anything that we. No guests allowed, joint guests and visitors.
So from because of the size in which you're going to be, have pool in there. What is being done for food and the disposal of things that go in that containers and so forth.
So we currently serve complimentary breakfast only.
And where will that be done from?
So that's been done inside the building. There's no outside food. There is a cafeteria area.
So they won't be going in there to get a hamburger.
We don't have we don't have any restaurants or any of any sort, but free breakfast in the morning. That's served. So there's no like lunch offer, there is no bar.
The moment. Okay. And all the trash of this particular complex, where will that go?
So you're gonna show where the trash.
Right now, whatever your trash collectors are, they're.
Two
should be
sixteen,
right outside.
Does it show in the plan?
Yeah, no, I'm not seeing that.
Okay.
No, it's not showing.
Oh,
two
So we
sixteen, or is it on both?
There's one,
I saw it on the other plan, but I haven't.
there's one kind of here in the middle.
Yeah,
The one on the.
Trash something.
I think
Okay.
plan. These were done only for parking.
okay, but they're not showing, I can show where they are right now, but they're not showing the plans.
They are on the,
Do you have a dumpster?
We have two small.
it's right here, isn't it?
Property.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
I'm sorry. We have two Two, one per property, they're both
Two
existing.
dumpsters per property. I think,
One dumpster per property. So there's two together, one per property, and if I can show you where they are right now. These are showing the
Enclosed?
dwelling. They enclosed, yes, and
so they had like a stockade fence around them?
they had a vinyl fence,
Okay, is it
Yeah.
see-through or it's open?
No.
Okay,
no, it's blocked.
so they're in an enclosure.
The enclosure, yeah, we did that enclosure because it was falling apart. So this is number 222, so there's one here.
Okay.
And in the other plan. It's trying to think the other plan here. There's a little gap in the other plan.
On this side, you have it out here, right? Out here.
It's right here, this gap here.
That's how you do that.
So it's in the back of the property.
Yeah, and the other one is, other side is,
So as the road makes that turn at the back of the property is one.
this is the full
Last
side,
one,
this is the full side.
Oh, the full side. Let me show you
This is the full side.
What was the total number of units for both is it 90 just for the one building?
94 the left for 216.
Yeah.
90 and then 44. For the
90 and 44?
44 plus 13 cottages, so
Plus
147 altogether. This is
And how many parking spaces are there total?
with this plan, well, before that, we didn't have the 1.1 per unit. The company never had that.
One side has a 62. And the other side has
There's
a,
like, yeah, this protection, but it's from here.
62 plus 64. 106. 126.
26.
Yeah.
So you're way under the number of units you have, right? For
Yeah.
parking space.
Yes, we are.
So you're planning on,
Well,
you're planning on a lot of people using 2 rooms, I guess, with 1 car.
I did the first thing we started out with, talk to commissioner. And then he said they would say, you'd rather see
More parking.
more planting and whatnot. So, I mean, we trying to work out that.
Right.
Yeah, it is, we are short on a parking.
Yeah.
They have been the way it's basically operated.
Should have brought the old Chinese restaurant.
I'm sorry.
Or the restaurant next door.
We try, yeah, that's a great idea.
Did you?
They were too quick, whoever bought that place.
Hmm.
He's gonna be great because then we can do a water park basically.
So the one to the east was the old Chinese restaurant.
Oh,
Yeah.
tasty buffet.
Right now it's just an empty lot, and I hear they're gonna go for go-kart there.
Well, temporarily. yeah.
That's why, yeah, temporary, and we're gonna talk about the noise as well, but we wanna see things happening. At the same time, we have to look out for our guests. So it's gonna be tricky, but
So when the neighbors come about your pickleball court.
right, no, but I know that
Send them out
it's
on a
different
go-kart.
neighbors, and those are his neighbors, so that's not their fault at all. You know, it's not, but yeah, parking is it's gonna be something that we're gonna need, so especially what the town requires, more parking, less trees, more trees, less parking. And
But this is
how
an
can we
existing
find
condition.
Fine line,
This is an
Also,
existing condition that's been the case for a long time.
it's me.
So how is it managed? Are you ever
So-
100% occupied and have
So,
parking issues?
they have, when you have number one, we don't get sold out all the time. It comes to Friday and Saturday. And then you have groups that comes in a bus,
Oh, okay.
so, and that one bus will take several parking spaces, but not 40,
Yeah.
like 40 people away. And so last year, which our first season, I did not come to a situation that I didn't have parking. However, parking with the gravel, they're parking where they're not supposed to, especially in between those two buildings. There's a gravel area there. And it worried me, that's not a parking space. It worried me because there's not enough space for a fire truck to go in between. And then you have to ask people to park somewhere else and park where it's a parking space designated, which a little far from the road. I had to ask that because it's just if there was an emergency, the fire truck cannot go.
But you're sprinklered in
No,
you're not sprinklered in 216? Why did I think that?
those buildings, no, those none of two. There was a surprise to me when I came about. And from what I hear, is like they have outdoor
Doors.
doors.
Yeah.
But the building's not sprinkled. It's sprinkled. They have
You know,
fire walls.
Personally, I'd also
Why not? Sorry?
I'd also like to see more planting on the easterly side there. There's at least some areas where I guess the blue crosshatch there, is that decking in the back of those units on that side on 226?
Yes, and so
So that blue crosshatch is decks or patio or something apparently.
So those are the calculations.
This here, this long line of blue here.
Oh, those are walkways.
Yeah,
yeah,
Brick walkways.
so
Yeah.
so yeah, it's brick, and then there's like a small divider to give people some sort of privacy in between units. And then we had a planted area.
Yeah, and I think I'd like to ask for planting area where you can, where it's toward the front there, where there's some room in the back, not to mention along the road.
Okay.
That should be planted wherever you can,
So
should be appropriately planted, I guess. The parking spaces, I don't know. It is what it is, I guess. It's not like you're adding units, so I guess you're not necessarily adding more usage. I think it's kind of crazy that we don't have enough parking here. And maybe the area that's called grass in back of the new pool should be considered to be looked at as potentially more parking. Not that I like parking as opposed to grass, but I think that's an issue, you know, you're gonna have people parking in neighboring properties and everything, and
that's a conversation we had with.
especially now that it's gonna look so nice, you're gonna be full all the time.
Is that a pre-existing non-conforming use with the parking?
I guess it is. I don't know how they got away with it to begin with, because
Any
the
other
parking requirements have not changed, I don't think.
I think that 1.1 has changed, so some
So
other.
whether
places
they got
require
relief on that
people
initially, I guess, maybe.
to Combine units to be like a suite in order to have, so I don't know what the story.
I get
To
you.
be. Just say to be honest, because we try to be honest all the time, but what, from my understanding. After coming in, reading the bylaws and how what they did before. They have gravel all over the place.
Yeah, yeah, there's a bunch of gravel there now where you're saying grass.
Gravel, It's
Yeah.
water goes through it, so it meets the requirement of no paving, and at the same time. People park.
Okay.
But now, I don't like the way it looks, of course not. And we want to do something. But go back to gravel, it's a pity,
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
It is. And I think that's how it was done before. I now understand the reasons why, and besides money, besides not wanting to invest money on it. Now we want to invest money on it, but we can't. Because there is some regulations that we have to abide.
Right.
And then we try to get some variances, but it's I'll find that.
I mean, in all honesty, I can see somebody saying, get the parking requirement that you may need. I'd hate to see overflow going on to neighboring properties and get the parking that you need either from that grassy zone or from your tennis court for that matter.
Interesting.
That's a good point, because we don't really need a tennis court.
You need a tennis court to,
He says he doesn't.
It's a good point, I say, because we do not need.
Yeah.
Tennis court to operate.
Yeah.
So that's a good.
so that may be a place where you want to consider parking.
Maybe that should, yeah, that should back up.
It is a good point.
Yeah, because someone's gonna raise that. We're just design review here, but there's other bodies in this town that might raise that question to you.
Absolutely. And then we would like to get it approved and now underway done as soon as possible, so it doesn't look like it is right now.
Yeah.
But that's a very good point.
I don't think I have anything else. Anybody else have anything else?
Good, thank you.
Parking and landscaping, right? Those are the two items.
Parking and landscaping are
Yep.
issues. Yeah, I think
Variance of the.
the other can be accomplished and that most of that can be too, I think,
The canopy,
Yeah, the canopy, I think we talked enough, so I've got you.
Yeah, I
The
guess you
best
do
on
the
the-
best you can.
It's all about the supports there. The canopy itself, I think, is fine.
That's what it looks like.
We have criteria that we go through, so it's somewhat similar to site plan review in the sense that you will get not right after this meeting, because I need to make sure that I'm using complete sentences. I'm typing up as we go. This is actually committee meeting minutes. It's a little different than site plan review, but you will get these at the end, but we have different siting strategies and building strategies that we need to go through and comment on. We'll comment whether it meets the standards, whether it's not applicable, or whether there's discrepancy. This is an advisory board for you because of the type of project that you're doing. Some of times it's board's mandatory, this is advisory. But if you have to go to the zoning board of appeals, they pay attention to the comments from site plan review and from design. So the first siting strategy is related to the streetscape. I'm just going to go over what I have, and you guys, the committee members, let me know if you have any issues. I think it meets the standards. 216, the existing building is located along Route 28 with an added pedestrian connection to Route 28, and the porte cochere creates a modulation in the building facade. And 226, the existing building is located fronting along Route 28. Tenant spaces not applicable.
Right.
Defining finding the street edge. So the buildings come up. And we talk about buffers elsewhere, but on 226, I did note that I think that the landscape feature should be utilized to discontinue the building line along Route 28 in front of the pool. And I talk about it a little bit more in comments for section number 7 below. I just feel for the pools need to have a buffer along Route 28. You can have lower plantings, landscaped plantings along that pretty fence that you have. Got to keep them 5 feet below, because that's what you need for the state regulations, and then put trees every 20 feet in the front. That's simple. So that's 3. Shielding large buildings is not applicable. Designing a second story isn't applicable. Use of topo to screen the new development, not applicable. I think the landscape buffers and screening is probably the biggest discrepancies.
Yeah.
I just have some general notes that the red maple and dogwood are shown in pictures, not included in the plant list, and the white oak and pitch pine is in the plant list, but not shown on the pictures. Please note that azaleas and hydrangeas.
I said this at Board of Appeals too, but I think I wouldn't want to see too many red maples. I want more breaking up. I think the oaks you mentioned is fine.
So just use a variety of
Yeah,
plants.
sometimes they like to have all red maples and it looks kind of stupid, I think.
I will not put all of them.
Yeah.
I think it's just to add some colors for in the beginning.
Yeah. Some is fine. Yeah.
We have the
This looks nice.
dog.
Good color.
Yeah.
Look nice.
There's a variety of tree species of, I guess we need to be native tree species because that's in the bylaw.
Shrubs out.
And then please note that azaleas and hydrangeas are shrubs, not trees, so keep that in mind when you're planting. And then just that the landscape plan needs to be more legible and clear and what is being provided. These are all the things that we discussed in our conversation. Just on 226, just reiterating what we talked about, retain these beautiful things that you have there versus adding anything or modifying it. And again, provide that planted buffer here every 20 feet with trees to screen parking, and then really screen the courts from the residential properties here and here too, because there's a residence here, so it's not just these people, but also elsewhere. I said,
Looks
consider.
like the fence that's, I'm sorry, I'm off.
Oh, go ahead.
course,
It's right
yeah.
on property.
But there's it's showing a fence here that is way on the adjacent properties.
The fence on the 226.
And 220,
216, 216
216.
in the rear.
That red line, that's not even on your property, right? That fence line. It's apparently your fence, but on nowhere near your property.
The red light, that was the existing fence.
I know.
I don't know, we just showed. that.
Maybe something you want to look into.
Yeah, no, I did already. Today I was, I'm gonna stake our property lines. And because I think the other people may be encroaching on my property
Yeah.
here, okay? So that is,
Okay.
that's one of the things. I'm
So,
gonna get this
looks like you may be encroaching on theirs and them on you. So,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's vice versa, right? So I need to,
okay, I'm sorry. Go
I
ahead.
decided today that we're gonna have a property line staked before finalizing the.
And there was a old wood fence,
Right.
and then we was gonna build a vinyl fence in some places. It's very close to it, in some places it's 10 feet gap, and it goes towards the.
It goes from 5 feet to 8 to 9 feet. That is the.
Just give it to me, please.
Yeah.
Okay,
So 226, just what I said about buffering the pool along Route 28 with lower plantings along the fence and the trees every 20 feet. And then I added the note that Dick had about buffering along the eastern property line behind the motel, but possible. And then adding the 2 trees to the east side of the entrance along Route 20. We're good.
yeah, I think that's
You
good.
wanna add anything?
Could we talk about the discrepancy of the parking spaces on the east side? Is that part of that or something
That's
else?
buffering.
Okay.
So no, I
Yeah.
haven't.
Okay,
And I don't know whether you really, this is more about parking lot visibility. So you're meeting the standard because your parking is to the side and to the rear of the building, so that's great. And I guess like breaking up the large parking lot, there are some discrepancies in there, mainly because the additional in-lot trees on 216 have been the islands have been added, but you need to put the right trees in there in order to meet it. And then the 226, there are a few in-lot trees, but the location of the underground septic may be impacting the location of trees. So on 226, I mean, you don't have a lot of places. You can't really plant a tree here, even though you have a tree shown here and shown here, because that's right above your septic system. I see that you look like you're putting some trees and planters here. That's for you to make it look pretty. That's not something that the town is requiring. We care about like, what are you doing to break up the parking lot? So just keep that in mind because you don't have the right number. Right now, it seems like on the other side, you were able to add some, but so it is technically a discrepancy, but it's also an existing condition. You're not, with regard to underground utilities, you're not doing anything with them. All your utilities are overhead from Route 28 to the front of the buildings and you're keeping that.
Overhead.
You're not going underground with electric.
No.
I kind of said not applicable because they're adding a port cochere. I'm not going to make them to go underground
No.
with all their utilities for that.
be nice.
Utilities.
Be
It'd be
nice,
nice,
but-
but yeah.
But
Electric is underground.
So it comes to the buildings that are next to the street, and then after that goes on the ground.
So it comes,
So like, let's say 216. I'm sorry, that's 226, that there's a house there in the beginning. So the
goes overhead to there
Overhead to there,
and then.
and then down the ground, and then goes.
On the
out
site is all
to the
underground.
13
Yeah.
units, and then transfer over to the 44 units. And that's
Underground.
on the ground. And we got permits for that. We did because this excavation, we have to redo that. And then it goes across to 216, and that's where the power transformers are. Should be in the plan, but it's in the. We fenced that out, just to make it look bad, but it's right here. Right here. Oh, it's in here. Yeah, there's a little power thing here, but that's.
Oh, yes, yes, I know what you're talking about.
That, so I sent that, the portion is that sent. The access to the power that goes to there is not the ground.
I'm just gonna leave it as not.
Okay.
Shielding loading areas, you don't, is not applicable. And then for the building strategy, I think all these strategies noted below apply to the proposed port co-share at 216 Route 28, doesn't really apply to anything else.
Okay.
And if you disagree, breaking down the building mass or breaking down into submass is not applicable. Varying the facade lines, I mean, they have varied the facade lines, so I think it meets the standards. The wall heights are a little different, so they're kind of meeting the standards. This is all for the port co-share, so it's a little funny, but varying the roof lines meets the standard, bringing down the building edges. I mean, the port co-share is lower than the rest of the building, so it meets that. And then I don't know where to start talking about all the stuff that you guys were talking about with regard to the size and what we're kind of looking at. So the vinyl siding is proposed to replace stone facade. I said include 6-inch corner boards, which I knew that you were interested in. And then have the horizontal clapboards for the gable end of the port co-share. And then, and I had just put in there, additional detailing and materials need to be identified on the proposed columns. So
Right.
do we, and that's just where I got based on kind of thinking, so I know you guys talked about it a lot. And I feel like maybe we should add some additional information here about I'm not sure exactly, we talked about it a lot.
What ways they're going to disguise the concrete piers more aesthetically pleasing way.
Good way to put it.
Although I'm sure that's what you intended to do to begin with,
Just to cover up, do you want to say cover or?
without making it, to make it
Aesthetically pleasing.
not.
And
Please. Yeah.
I was gonna say, less bulky is,
Not so large,
I
okay.
don't know.
Not so bulky.
Not to look like a parking
I
lot.
understand, right?
Like,
Yeah, I don't know what to say,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
considering the concern about the base size of the base plate.
Yeah.
Again, these are, we're being advisory in this particular
Right.
case, but I think we want you to be as successful as possible and make your investment dollars,
We appreciate
as
it.
much,
Because we want to,
have the bang for the buck as much as
You
possible.
know, and see
definitely want to make it look
the
good.
economy grow here on Cape Cod. People can afford to live here,
So this is the tricky one about.
just old people.
As I'm getting older, I'm taking more offense to that comment. Use of traditional or natural building materials. Typically, we indicate that if you're using a type of material that mimics a natural, we have it. So I don't know how, obviously vinyl siding is not a natural material.
But it's there.
you know.
What are you gonna do?
Mhm.
If I change the siding someday,
If you
We will
change the
change it.
siding
That'll be-
someday.
that'll be after a couple of seasons, we
We have
made
to
money.
paint that.
Yeah.
you know.
Do we want to say it meets the?
We have to,
Sometimes, yeah, I would. I mean, sometimes it's just the trim that really throws you off with vinyl, if the trim is.
It's skimpy.
Yeah, a little more.
Yeah.
Slowly winding down. Incorporating pedestrian scale features, I think it kind of meets the standard. They have the nice walking path in front. And incorporating energy efficiency design, not applicable because it's an open airport, share.
you have a big list up there.
It doesn't quite face a good direction for solar panels
Is
either.
solar being utilized in this building?
Not yet. I am looking into it. And it's
Yeah.
not gonna happen soon. But
You can
It's-
imagine what your energy bills are.
it's crazy, and we do have another place in Falmouth that it's just I wanna say ridiculous in terms of cost.
Mhm.
And then you're not dependable as much. Listen, carbon emission and all that in offsets. So we did what we have to do first, so the roof in the 226, we did that roof, we did the septic tank, that was bigger than we thought because of the water level. It's, too short, that's why it's taking.
It's 7 feet.
Yeah, and then the next, I think in the next year or so, definitely. Solar panel in the roof, we're gonna look at the roof at 216. There's some leakage there, and at that point, we like to consider solar panel. I think it's very important. Very important.
It'll be good for you and good for everybody.
Yes, I think it should. It's not a law, but I think it's a way that everybody should go at some point.
Yeah. If you can afford it. And we're
Yeah.
not in the historic district, so we don't have to worry about
Mhm.
it.
What else?
So what we do now is I typically read stuff and then they vote on stuff. This is just committee administration stuff. So you don't have to stay. And what I'll do is when I'm done with it, I will send it to you to sign at the end and you just send me back a PDF of it and then I'll clock it in and
No
we're good
problem.
to go.
Sure thing. And yeah, just we appreciate your help, and we need help, we need guidance, as you can see clearly. But especially with aesthetics and how we can make it work and.
Yeah.
and improve
We're,
that.
we're on the same team with that. Whatever you do to make it look nice and we help you to make it look nice, it's gonna be better for your business.
Appreciate it. So,
Sure.
and it goes back to.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for your input and.
I'm just gonna. Luck with that.
It's fine.
Um,
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I love this room.
I just. TV there. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. So
I got it.
Mr. Mystery gave an overview of the project on the two motel properties. The septic system for both properties is in place for 216 Route 28. They want to add back a sports court in the area used for parking now. Modifications have been made to direct the light to the courts and away from the neighbors. 10-foot fence around the sport. So we're modifying the parking to add landscaping islands to add inlet trees. Lastly, they are replacing the small canopy at the main entrance to add a porte cochere where people can drive under to check in. Mr. Mystery reviewed the architectural drawings, I should say structural drawings. Drawings on drawing 4 and, oh no, they were architectural. Sorry. On drawing 4 in the traffic circulation on drawing 5, the canopy still allows for emergency vehicles to the property. The type of construction. And the structural drawings were handed out. Meeting S1 and S2, there will be new piers with concrete sonotube footings that will extend above the ground about 30 inches and posts on top with plaster ceiling and lighting under the canopy. Asphalt roof and new vinyl siding will be replaced to match the existing building. The gutters will be aluminum and will discharge onto the ground. The posts will be 16 by 16 wrapped in AZEK. Mr. Mystery noted the landscaping plan has been modified from the site plan review plans. On 226, Mr. Mystery, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his name, but indicated that the site is impacted due to the installation of a new septic system. He noted a new swimming pool with stone structure, which is located within the western side buffer and requires setback variance. The decking around the pool is pavers, which is 21 feet from Route 28, and the pool is over 35 feet. There's limited room to locate the pool due to the front setbacks, driveway, and the new septic system. He reviewed the grassed areas with children's play area and the modified parking with some inlet trees. Design Review Committee questions and discussions. 216 Route 28. Sarah Porter inquired as to the size of the existing boxes on the columns, which he felt were too big. Mr. Mystery noted that the sonotube is 20 inches diameter and needs room for the base plate. Members asked about the type of sports on the sports court. He noted it would be tennis or pickleball. Mr. O'Neill noted that play at night could be allowed for neighbors. Mr. Mystery noted that on the property line, they can put a fence and evergreen trees to screen and help deflect noise. You know, that they could add a screen into the 10-foot chain link fence if there is an issue. Mr. Martin suggested reaching out to the neighbors, and Mr. Mystery noted that the court is 20 feet from the property line. Steve O'Neill indicated partial to the existing box footing versus a concrete or to hide the concrete from the street. With plantings, Mr. Mystery noted that there could be some plantings in the island. Kathy Williams noted that they can have a rubbed finished concrete, which will look nicer, plus the plantings. Charlie Adams liked the existing box footing better. Mr. Mystery noted that he could encase it in brick. Sarah felt the piers are too big, especially if you box it out. This was a big discussion for the topic. Mr. Mystery will look to see if he could be a 16-inch diameter sonotube. Sarah asked about the size of the small island, which Mr. Mystery said was 3 foot wide. And Sarah indicated she'd like to keep it as simple as possible. Wagner noted that he would try to make it look like a barrel. Kathy Williams suggested perhaps stone rather than brick. I don't think we came to any particular conclusion.
I think they'll do the best they can.
You gotta do something.
Yep.
I don't know what they're gonna do.
Sarah Porter asked if you could have a 1 by 6 inch corner board in the corners, and Mr. Mystery concurred and suggested the gable end have horizontal boards. And she indicated, and Mr. Mystery indicated they would utilize the horizontal vinyl clapboards. Mr. Martin asked if they were going to the zoning board of appeals, and Mr. Mystery said no. Mr. Martin noted the plans don't
And
identify.
eventually he said yes.
Well, no for 216,
Okay.
yes for 226, which is kind of what was said at site plan review. Mr. Martin noted the plans don't identify existing and proposed parking, which is typically shown. Mr. Mitchell said that they are not adding any parking. Mr. Martin was glad that they are upgrading the property, a bit confused about the plan as to whether their meeting setbacks and plantings don't match quantity given. We'd like to see the plan as close to zoning as possible and would mean adding trees in the western the area along the entrance. Mr. Martin noted the existing trees and landscaping in front of 216 should remain. Mr. Martin asked about the number of inlet trees and that buffers need to be treed and landscape plans clear. Mr. Martin expressed concerns about the tennis court and the noise and whether a special permit is needed. At a minimum, it's to be heavily buffered. 26 Route 28, Mr. Martin asked about the parking on the eastern property line. Mr. Mistral noted that the existing parking is on gravel, which is within the buffers and needs relief. The rear of the property has wetland buffer zones. Ms. Adams asked if the facilities are just for guests, which Wagner indicated they were. Mr. Adams asked about food disposal. Wagner indicated complimentary breakfast only is provided inside the building and they have no restaurant or bar on the property. Mr. Adams asked about trash removal. Wagner noted they have one dumpster per property, both located in fenced enclosures. Both properties together have 147 rooms with 126 parking spaces. Indicated they have bus tours, which reduces parking. Mr. Martin suggested parking could be added on the green space and possibly instead of the sports court on 216-28. And then Mr. Martin wants to see more plantings on the east side behind the motel and along Route 20, wherever they can be planted. That should be standard.
Wow.
Trash always trees.
Yeah,
I know it's
such is
long.
true.
One dumpster for that number of rooms is,
One dumpster for 90 rooms to begin with is not.
Depends on how
gonna be a-
frequently they're getting it, removed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
has it ever been a problem in that, for that property before, trash on the?
I've never heard.
yeah,
of
but
it.
before it was seasonal type people who came in for one night, but not living there.
Are there people living there?
Yeah, I think people are gonna be living in those.
No.
No, I think it's still resort.
It's still a motel.
So
It better still be a motel because they don't have.
I think that's,
They should be something other
It's
than
not
that.
about pigeons. We all know there's a problem.
yeah, I think that's,
So I need a motion to approve the design review comments as meeting minutes for
I-
216 and 226.
I make the motion that we approve.
Motion's
Second.
made, seconded. On favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And one more thing. I just need that closing. I just need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion's made to adjourn. Seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, aye.
All right.
Good job.
All right,
Thank
well,
you.
that's interesting property.
Yeah.
The old
Is
Thunderbird.
that the old Thunderbird?
Yeah, that's the Thunderbird, yeah.
Oh, I'm sure I will get better, thank